Okay, hello everybody. So, we are going to go back and review what we did for week 8, which was October 26th to October 30th. So, as you can see in Google Classroom, you should have 3 things under week 8. Geography assignments 1026 to 1027, assignments 1029 to 1030, and the optional ReadWorks activity, which if you do will replace your lowest grades before progress reports. So if you're way behind in getting things done, start with week 8. And then obviously start with 1026, 1027. Because remember, this is history class. We move forward chronologically. So let's click on our assignments, open it up. So our first grade in week 8 is going to be our 1026 and 1027 warm-up. So we have 2 review questions here. What were the laws that enforced segregation in the Reconstruction South? So remember what we talked about way back in like October and September. They have 2 names. So we start off with Black codes, and then we have Jim Crow laws. So which Supreme Court case ruled that segregation was legal as long as equal facilities were provided for both race? So remember, that's going to be that court case that came out of Louisiana. The guy tried to sit in a train car to challenge the Louisiana laws that there had to be separate but equal train cars. So once you answer this, move on to slides 2 and 3. If you need to finish writing your answers, pause here. Okay, as you can see, we have a map of the United States. It is got all the states labeled. I know on the East Coast, we got a little follow the lines. Now, on slide 3, you're going to match the slide. So we have a couple done for us to help us, but you'll start. Okay, so Delaware. Where's Delaware at? Let's look on this. So Delaware, it's that tiny thing right above Maryland. So you can move. It might be a little hard to click on, but just move things around so you can get Delaware or whatever one you want. So you're going to match all the states. Then, so while you work on that, pause the video here. Now, we're going to start on our questions. So what are some methods used to classify the 50 states? Think about that. How would you, if you were going to separate the 50 states into different categories, what could you do? You could, for example, things like which states border oceans or big bodies of water? Which states have the highest population? So, what is the body of water on the east coast of the United States? So, that ocean that's right next door to us, and it goes up and down the east coast. So, fill in those states from Maine to Florida. Look, we got a map. You can tell which ones are bordering. So what is the body of water on the west coast of the United States? What states are bordering this body of water? Oh, look, the states that are bordering the west coast. Now you can fill in your answers on either slide 4 or 5. Good. So what is the body of water that borders the states of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas? So this is going to be right here. And because I don't expect you to remember it from last year, I'm going to tell you it is the Gulf of Mexico. So what is a harbor? A harbor is going to be where ships dock. It's a parking lot for ships. Now, there are natural harbors and there are man-made harbors. When we talked about the colonization of America, we talked about the natural harbors that Boston and Virginia had that made it easy for ships to dock and for people to come to shore. So, how might the geographic locations of these states bordering these bodies of water affect their economies? So, think about what Norfolk is famous for. What do we have here that relies on the ocean? The Navy, right? So, at Virginia Beach, that is tourism. People come to Virginia Beach to visit the ocean. Okay. So, and you may or may not already have this filled in, but we're going to go over it real quick. So, as we will get into in later weeks, we have our main industries that we're going to be talking about: the steel industry, the automobile industry, textiles, and meat packing. And they focus in the Northeast and Midwest regions. So steel is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's in the Northeast region. We'll talk more about this in the next assignment. We have Detroit, which is a little farther west, so it's going to be in the Midwest. It's in Detroit, Michigan. Then we have our textiles, which is based in a region, not a state, and that region is New England. Think back to what the states were that we talked about in 6th grade. New England was made up of Massachusetts, sometimes New York, depending on who you asked, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, those states. Then we have meat packing, which is in the Midwest region because it's in Chicago, Illinois. And then finally, your exit ticket. This can be your 3rd grade. Make up a test question based on the answers, based on what we just talked about. So you'll fill this out. You might have to create a text box, or there is one there, and then go in there and hit turn in. So that's it for our assignments for 1026 and 1027. Remember, it counts as a warm-up, an assignment, and an exit ticket. So 3 grades. Exit ticket is slide 9. Warm-up is slide 1. Everything in between is your assignments.